Good afternoon, children. Today we are going to solve some question and answer in the textbook. Now I am going to start with the first question. The skeletal structure of acetic acid as shown below is correct, but some of the bonds shown is incorrectly. This is the question. We have to correct it. This is the exact correct answer, because here and all the octet valence is not satisfied. So check 2 plus 2 4 plus 6 8 10 12. Here and all 12 electrons are there, but actually it contains only 8 electrons. Here carbon is surrounded by carbon valence 4 1 2 3 4 5. So valence is not satisfied, even though the structure is correct, but the bond arrangement is wrong. This is the correct answer. Here we check valence of carbon is 4 1 2 3 4, and here also 1 2 3 4 carbon valence is satisfied. Here oxygen 1 valence electron 2 plus 2 4 4 plus 2 6 8. So we have to draw the structure in octet format is like this. Here 2 electrons, duplet configuration, 8 electrons, octet configuration. So this structure, this bond arrangement can be explained like this. This is the correct arrangement of this bond arrangement of this acetic acid structure. This is we check from this all the elements, all are satisfied, all are stable. So this is the correct. This is the in this structure there is no stability, no say 8 electrons in the outermost configuration, so it is unstable. So next I am going to solve with the next question. This is the question: what are the limitations of noble gas? This question answer is given in the textbook. Noble gases do not form octet because do not form compounds. Sorry, noble gas do not form compounds. Only they present is helium, neon, argon, krypton, like that. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, radon. So this is the way it is present. It is not combining with any other element to form compound, because they are already containing 8 electrons in the outermost shell. Only in the case of helium 2 electrons in the outermost shell for stability. So it is called as duplet. Helium have duplet configuration. Remaining noble gases have octet configuration, so they are stable. Exception, the limitation is the krypton fluoride. Fluoride KrF2, xenon, missing is helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon fluoride, xenon tetrafluoride, xenon hexafluoride, all are forming compounds. That is why this is the one limitation in noble gas. Noble gases do not form compounds, but these except krypton and xenon, they form compounds. Second point, the expanded octet rules. The compounds, the octet rule is violated by certain compounds like PF5, PF5, PCl5, SF6, and IF7. So these compounds, let us take SF6, sulfur hexafluoride, because that containing, this is the structure of SF7, SF6. So how many electrons surrounded by central atom? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 electrons present. So it is called expanded octet. that is the electron more than 8 electrons present in the outermost shell, that is called expanded octet. um, this is due to the presence of empty vacant d orbitals, due to the presence of vacant d orbitals, 3d orbitals, because the size of all these phosphorus, sulfur and are bigger, therefore it contain empty orbitals, that we already discussed in the during the class hours. So the empty d orbitals allowing the extra electrons, that is the reason expanded octet is coming. Next one is insufficient octet, that is some compounds are formed due to the violation of deficient structures, that is deficient octet. Octet is less than the octet, 8 electrons in the outermost shell. Let us see, lithium chloride contains 2 electrons. Beryllium chloride, beryllium BeCl2, it contains 4 electrons. Boron trifluoride, BCl3, it containing 6 electrons. So 6 electrons. Aluminum chloride, outermost shell is containing 6 electrons. The boron trifluoride, BF3, it containing 6 electrons in the outermost shell. So they are called in the deficient to octet rule. So these are the 3 drawbacks of octet rule. First drawback is noble gases do not form compound because they are surrounded by 8 electrons in the outermost shell. In the case of helium, 2 electrons in the outermost shell. But some exceptions are there. That is krypton, xenon, they form compound. That is the first limitation. Second limitation, expanded octet. Expanded octet means the outermost shell is filled with more than 8 electrons. FeF5, PCl5, IF7, all those things are examples, and in that compounds more than 8 electrons present in the outermost shell. This is due to the presence of vacant d orbitals. So the incoming electron filled in the vacant empty orbital, that is why expanded octet possible. Insufficient octet is the third limitation. This is due to the less atomic number. See, beryllium and all valence electron 3, valence electron is 1. So lithium valence electron 1, beryllium valence electron 2, like that less amount of valence electron. The reason is that is the reason for insufficient octet. These are the drawbacks of octet rule. Question is, how do you express bond strength in terms of bond order? Bond order increases, bond enthalpy also increases. Bond enthalpy also increases. What is meant by bond enthalpy? Energy required to break the bond. Energy required to break the bond is called bond enthalpy, and bond length decreases. At the same time, bond length decreases, which means bond order of triple bond stronger than double bond, stronger than single bond. So in the bond order ratio is triple bond is stronger than double bond than the single bond. So greater the bond order, greater the bond order, smaller the bond length, and stronger the bond. This is the answer for this question. How do you express bond strength in terms of bond order? Bond order increases, bond enthalpy also increases, and bond length decreases. For triple bond, bond length is triple bond less, and double bond length is stronger, and single bond length is higher. So if you shorten the bond length, the strength is higher. If you increase the bond length, it is easily breakable. So bond order is directly proportional to bond order is directly proportional to strength of bond. This also we can make it into account. So this is the answer for this question. Bond order increases, bond enthalpy also increases, but at the same time bond length decreases. If the bond length decreases means bond strength increases. That's the reason bond order is directly proportional to strength of the bond. Bond order is equal to triple bond greater than double bond greater than single bond. And greater the bond order, stronger will be the bond and smaller the bond length. Here also means triple bond is smaller in size, single bond bigger in size, smaller in length, not size. Here bigger in length. So this is the answer for the question. Explain the structure of carbonate ion in terms of resonance. This is the question. Explain the structure of carbonate ion in terms of resonance. Here I am going to write the Lewis structure. Lewis structure of CO3 2 minus. Carbon double bond oxygen, single bond oxygen, single bond, double bond electrons. These electrons are valence electrons. 6 valence electrons and one negative charge here, one electron, because 2 minus, that's why 2 negative charge. It contains one double bond, 2 single bonds, right? This a single structure will not satisfy the experimental findings. So we can write canonical form, which means there is no real existence. This is just an assumption form. There is no real existence for this. I am going to draw the canonical form of this one. Negative ion. This is nothing but resonance. This double vector arrow shows that resonance. 1, 2, 3. Next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double bond oxygen. Single bond. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is second one, and this one, third one. Carbon double bond, single bond, oxygen. So these are the 3 canonical form which fulfills the experimental findings. So this is the resonance structure of carbonate ion. It's important 2 mark question. First you have to draw the Lewis structure and tell how many single bond, how many double bond. Why canonical form came? Because single structure will not fulfill all the theories based on this. So we can draw the 3 canonical forms which is called the resonance structure. This getting 1 mark and this will give 1 mark, 2 mark. Next question. Question is explain with the help of suitable example for polar covalent bond. Simple question. Now I am going to draw the structures. Displacement of shared electron pair. Next what happened now? Electrons are moved towards here. So the electron density is maximum at B. So it is called distorted electron cloud. After this, the atom A acquires partial positive charge and B gains more electrons, so it will occurs partial negative charge. This is called polar covalent bond. I will tell you the reason. This is the simple diagram. The reason is if a bond formed between 2 atoms have different electronegativities, bond between 2 atoms having different electronegativities of a heteronuclear molecule. Different negativities of a heteronuclear atom, nuclear molecule side. Okay. The shared pair electrons move towards the more electronegative. Shared pair electrons move towards the more electronegative species. More towards the more electronegative atom, right? So this is the thing. Suppose A is less electronegative element than B, shared pair of electron move towards B because of B have more effective nuclear charge. So the electronegativity meaning is the qualitative ability of attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. So that will be happening here. After happening this, the electron density in B is more than A. That's why the electron cloud is changed like this. After that, you get A is occurs partial positive charge because it loses electron, and B occurs partial negative character, so it gains electron. So it polarity produced, charge separation produced between A and B. So it is called polar covalent bond. Now I am going to tell this with the help of one example. Bond between two atoms have different electronegativities, high electronegativity difference. That's the reason. And shared pair of electrons always move towards the more electronegative atom. Okay. Now I am going to tell the example. For let the case of hydrochloric acid HCl. So chlorine is more electronegative then this is suppose this is B, negative than hydrogen, right? So electron pairs move towards here. Initially electrons are like this. Due to higher electronegativity of chlorine, electrons are moved towards chlorine part. Okay, then the electron cloud is like this, A, B. Electron cloud is maximum here. After that, it occurs partial positive charge and it occurs partial negative charge. This is polar covalent bond. This is the simple explanation of this question. Hydrochloric acid is a very good example. It is a heteronuclear molecule. Hydrogen is less electronegative than chlorine. So chlorine acquires the electron from hydrogen towards itself, and due to this reason, distorted electron cloud generated here. Distorted electron cloud generator. After the distorted electron cloud, electrons of the hydrogen will lost, so it occurs partial positive charge. Chlorine occurs partial negative charge. So polarity produced between them. This type of bonds are called polar covalent bond. Hello students. The question is write the significance of dipole moment. There are 4 significance given. Polarity determining the polarity of molecule. Second one is differentiate between polar and non-polar molecules. Differentiate between polar and non-polar molecules. So it gains the electron from hydrogen towards itself. That bond, that electron strongly sticked over fluorine. That rate is this one, dipole moment, extent of dipole moment. In the case of chlorine, size is bigger, so the dipole moment decreases. Here HBr, the size is still bigger, so the magnitude of the dipole moment decreases. Then Hi, iodine is still bigger molecule, therefore the dipole moment still decreases. Size is smaller, electronegativity is higher. If electronegativity is higher means the electron from the shared atom attached to the higher electronegative atom strongly. Next one, the differentiating polar and non-polar compounds. Molecule F2 and HF, dipole moment. Second point, nature. After this, nature. See, molecule fluorine and fluorine is dipole moment 0. I will tell you this is 1.78. This is non-polar. This is polar. I tell the reason. In the dipole moment in non-polar element is 0. Dipole moment present in non-polar molecule is 0, not element. Molecule is 0 because the charge separation. There is no charge separation between them. Only it contains F minus, F minus. So same charges. So there is no charge separation in it. That's why it is the dipole moment is 0. Dipole moment means it starts from the positive to negative, that we learned. So here HF, it has dipole moment because in contrast to non-polar molecule, polar molecule have heteronuclear molecule have dipole moment because of hydrogen losing one electron and fluorine gains the electron. So polarity produced between them, therefore dipole moment is present. This is called as polar dipole moment. In this way we can separate polar and non-polar compounds. Next one is percentage ionic character. Percentage ionic character means that it is a formula. Percentage ionic character is equal to, the formula is observed dipole moment divided by dipole moment of 100% ionic compound. Dipole moment of 100% ionic compound into 100. This is the formula. That means mu observed divided by Q into D into 100. This is the percentage ionic character. So observed value by theoretical value into 100, because percentage you have to multiply with 100. Q means charge. Q means charge of ion. Charge of ion. D is distance, internuclear distance between the two atoms. Internuclear distance between two atoms. So this is the answer of the third one. Fourth one is axial distinguishing cis and trans isomers. Suppose I am taking carbon double bond carbon cis isomer. So here halogen, X stands for halogen. Here also one more halogen. Halogen is always more electronegative than carbon. So the dipole moment direction is this. Dipole moment is direction is this. Same direction, mu is not equal to 0. So it is called cis isomer. Cis means same direction. Compound present in the substituents present in same direction are called cis isomer. If the substituents present in the different places are called, opposite places are called trans isomer. This is called trans isomer. Here the dipole moment of oppositely moving direction, resultant dipole mutually cancel each other, therefore psi is equal to 0. Here one moving in the upper, other moving in downstairs, therefore mutually cancel each other, mu is equal to 0. This is the fourth use of the dipole moment. First use is to find the polar nature. Greater the dipole magnitude of dipole moment, greater is the polarity. Second one is differentiating polar and non-polar compounds. Third one is percentage ionic character, observed value by theoretical value into 100. Fourth one is distinguishing cis and trans isomers. This is the four different significance of dipole moment. This is an important 2 mark question. Which out of ammonia or nitrogen trifluoride has higher dipole moment? Why? This is the question. First we have to write the molecule name, hydrogen, nitrogen, fluorine, and their electronegativity of hydrogen is 2.1, nitrogen is 3, and fluorine is 4. Fluorine is the highest electronegative element. This data is important because of solving the problem. On seeing the table, electronegativity of nitrogen is greater than hydrogen. So nitrogen greater than hydrogen. So the direction of bond movement, therefore the direction of bond movement starts from hydrogen to nitrogen in ammonia, right? Second, electronegativity of fluorine is greater than structure and ammonia NF3, nitrogen, lone pair of electron, hydrogen, lone pair orbital is moving like this direction, nitrogen to lone pair, hydrogen to nitrogen, because lone pair electrons are moving upstairs, so the bond direction movement for this is orbital overlapping star here, nitrogen to the lone pair. Here also in ammonia, in NF3, the bond direction is nitrogen to fluorine. I explained fluorine is more electronegative than nitrogen, therefore the bond direction is like this. This is the structure and the bond direction. This is A and B. Explanation. Here I am going to give the explanation. The orbital dipole is due to lone pair electrons. Is lies in the same direction of resultant dipole. Lone pair dipole is A. Resultant dipole, which is B, right? The orbital dipole is due to lone pair electron. It lies in the same direction as the resultant dipole in ammonia. So orbital dipole is due to the presence of lone pair electrons, that is A, written, lies in the opposite direction of the resultant dipole. So some amount of orbital dipole and resultant dipole cancel each other, therefore net dipole moment equal to mu is equal to 1.47 dB. Here mu is equal to 0.40 dB. So this is the answer. So even that fluorine is highly electronegative than nitrogen, but the thing is like this. The structure is like this. The explanation: orbital dipole, same direction. So all these four things give addition value. These four things give two addition, one subtraction value. Therefore, you get the net dipole moment of 1.47 dB for this, and 0.40 dB is this. That is the explanation. I already explained that dipole moment. Next question we are going to solve the next question.